All right, everybody, welcome to episode 1 of the Yacht Nerd podcast. I'm Zach, the Yacht Nerd. You can see my little tag up here. I'm the current president, CEO, and head of product at Anchor Technologies, also known as Anchor Rides or Anchor Yacht Rentals, Anchor Yacht Charters. Go by a few names, but really in general, just Anchor. I guess start off, since this is episode 1, and kind of a little bit of why we wanted to start this podcast. Really, Anchor is a platform, a community, a tech company that pairs and brings together boat owners, yacht owners, typically under 100 gross tons, captains, U.S. Coast Guard licensed and RYA certified crew, pairs those teams up and then deploys them for day charters mostly. We do a little bit of overnight and multi-day charter, which we'll touch base on. We do a little bit of yacht delivery and we do some yacht management, but our primary business and the majority of the questions, the main reason, I guess, we started this podcast is to talk about the bareboat day charter industry, which has since COVID-19 just absolutely boomed. So at the beginning of all of these, well, first and foremost, you have to understand that I am not a licensed CPA. I am not an Admiralty and Maritime lawyer. So none of this should ever be looked at as legal advice or tax advice or anything like that. This is for educational purposes only. But I wanted to jump on here because I do have a significant level of knowledge and interaction with the United States Coast Guard, experience, thousands of charters under our belts. You know, we're approaching, well, we're 6 years old now as a company, and almost 6 years old. And we've done close to 10,000 charters in our lifetime. And that's quite a few charters. So we've made our fair share of mistakes. We've grown from a company that was doing our first year in 2017. We founded in 2016. We did $40,000 in sales. We're now in the 8-figure range. Okay. So we're doing thousands and thousands of charters a year. Mostly 95% of them, if not more, are going to be day charters. And so throughout the years, I've learned quite a few things, and I'll joke with you guys all day long. I'm a white belt when it comes to boating itself. You don't want me taking the helm. You don't want me driving you. I should be with cocktail in hand. But I am a black belt when it comes to Coast Guard regulation. And one of the reasons I am the head of product is that knowledge. So head of product is somebody who actually develops the technology. I'm not coding it. I'm just how it should work. So we were seeing it's 2022, right? So we're in late January, 2022, and we wanted our voice to be heard across a wide range of people across the United States, even in other countries. But it's very hard to go have these conversations hundreds and thousands of times over and over. So I wanted to have a resource where our captains, our boat owners, and even our renters could go to learn a little bit more about the bareboat charter industry, what it is, what your risks are, what you should be doing, and what you shouldn't be doing. So as a disclaimer here, I may call some people out that are actually on our platform and in our community. This is really the views of myself personally, not the company. I don't represent Anchor in any way here at this company. Of course, I'm biased towards Anchor. Since I started it, I founded it, and that's, where I want the charters to go to. But I wanted to kind of get that out there and let you all know, like, the purpose of this entire podcast, video cast that we're going to be doing here is for educational purposes, is to help our boat owners, our yacht owners, our captains especially, and even our renters be able to stay educated, stay on the current trends of what's happening, understanding more and more of what's out there. There are tons of resources. I'm going to point them out, some good, some bad. What we saw was there's kind of a trend of 2021 was censorship on social media. Well, we felt like we were being censored. When you can't give feedback, when you can't comment, when you can't be in parts of groups, because it creates conflict of interest or like a competition type thing, I thought that was bullshit. And I said, okay, I'm just going to get my voice out there. I'm going to have guests on a show every now and then, and I'm going to really help train folks at scale and at their leisure. So thought a great start for this podcast, episode 1, is, well, bareboat charters in general, what are they? And then how to spot an illegal charter. Super important if you're a boat owner, if you're a captain whose license is at risk, probably the most important, and then a renter too. Renters typically, we think they don't care, but they care when their charter is terminated and their $3, $5, $10,000 day is ruined and there's no refund. So when you're scrolling through Facebook, when you're scrolling through Instagram, and you see all of these advertisements as a renter, as a customer, as a guest, how can I spot an illegal charter? If I'm a captain and I get a call to run a charter, what are the questions I need to ask to make sure that this is a legal bareboat charter? You know, everyone, any boat owner who's trying to generate some money with their boat is going to tell you, oh, no, I've got this covered. I've got this covered. Well, we find that that's not the case a lot. And so look, as the head of product, we've built Anchor's entire platform around US Coast Guard compliance. It's not the easiest thing to do. We've noticed that some of our quote unquote competitors have gone the easy route. And I'm going to help you spot some of those, well, not the exact companies that are doing that, but I'm going to help you like make decisions for yourself, basically. So episode 1 is all about what is a bareboat charter? What are the rules of a bareboat charter? What I can and cannot do. We'll go even into some of the safety gear that's got to be on board. We're going to go through that really quick. Captains should know it's the same as a recreational boat. And then we're just going to talk about some of the common mistakes that people are making out there. And hopefully some of the boat owners who are listening to this, some of the captains who are listening to this can help port those charters through the right channels. Let me just tell you the difference between somebody doing it right and doing it something wrong is usually one little small, tiny factor that turns a legal charter into an illegal charter really quick. And we're going to refer to that as crossing the red line. So the Coast Guard calls it. It's crossing the red line. Okay. That means I went from a bareboat charter and now I'm not a bareboat charter. So now I'm a UPV, an uninspected passenger vessel charter. And I'm in violation of usually 6, 7, 8 different CFRs or rules or regulations. So I'm violating a bunch of different laws when I just did one thing wrong. It's because you got recategorized. Anyway, so I'm going to actually pull up and I can do screen share on this and everything like that. So you're going to see my screen. If you are just listening to this audio only, I'm going to carefully explain what is being seen on the screen and how to find those links. And if you're watching this, obviously it's going to be a little bit easier to follow. So, this is usually these podcasts are going to be centered around one of those different POVs that I just mentioned, the points of view. So it's going to be either a podcast for a captain or a podcast for a boat owner or a podcast for the renter, which is going to be more rare and more seldom. This one happens to cover all of those, which I thought was a great episode 1. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what a bareboat charter is, okay, and the 7 elements of a bareboat charter. And there's more to it than just those 7 elements. Where you can find that information, the passenger rules around it, and how Anchor is going to cover all 7 of those. And then, we're going to talk about what happens, and we're going to use some live examples. We can just go to the Coast Guard's Facebook page and find some folks who have been recently busted and charters terminated, whether they were guilty or not. We're not accusing this of anything, but you're going to see really quick, why are they in violation of 7 different things? It makes it look like the captain's doing so many things wrong, when really it could have been the booking company did one thing wrong. It could have been the charterer wasn't knowledgeable. The renter didn't know. Let's say, for example, they didn't know they had, didn't know they had the selection of captain. Okay, that's it. That's one of the quick questions. So let's go into that. Okay, so the first place we're going to talk about what a bareboat charter is, but the first resource that you all need to know and be very aware of when I share my screen here, I'm going to pull it up, is let's pull up an incognito window. And we're going to start searching here. And we're going to type in the Google search NVIC 7-94. That's NVIC 7-94. That's the NAVIC 7-94. One of the greatest resources, if you can kind of translate it. So when I pull it up on a Google search, it is literally the first thing that is pulled up. It says Passenger Vessel Safety Act, NAVIC 7-94. And we can pull this up. It's actually one is a, the one below it, the search below it here is a PDF version. So find the .pdf version and you'll pull that up, and it's a really ugly document that looks like it's been scanned in, which it was. So it's really messy on the front. You'll see 7-94. And what this is an interpretation by the Coast Guard of the Passenger Vessel Safety Act of 1993. So basically they have this big law. It's probably a stack of paper this high. And this document was meant to help interpret that legal language into, you know, everyday verbiage for you and I, but it's actually pretty complicated. So I'm going to skip a lot of the stuff because we want to keep these 30 to 45 minutes and keep it relevant. So I'm going to skip, and it's a 38-page document, which you can see at the top. So if you just scroll your browser, the first place I'm going to take you to is there's a couple of charts. And I want to make sure I go to the right one. And it would be chart B on page 12. Yes, charter. Yes, rec. Got it. Okay. So chart B. And I'm going to talk about some of these terms that we're going to see on the screen here. So I'm on chart B. It says vessels 100 gross tons, or wait, no, maybe that's incorrect. Comparison of old law to new. Sorry. Chart A. Let me redo that. Chart A, vessels under 100 gross tons. You can still bareboat charter a vessel over 100 gross tons, by the way. It applies to any size vessel, really. But first and foremost, we're looking at chart A on the NAVIC 7-94. Now, a bareboat charter, also known as a Demise charter, D-E-M-I-S-E, those terms are interchangeable. Okay, I'm just going to give you the answers to the test. If I ever meet you in person and you have a conversation with me, I will say, first thing I will ask you, and all of my employees know this, I have 30 employees, and actually more than that now. So we're probably closer to 34 employees. Every single one of them knows what the difference between a bareboat charter and a Demise charter is. And the answer is nothing. They're the same thing. They are the same word. So a bareboat charter is a Demise charter. So don't, if you have a Demise agreement, it is a bareboat agreement. If you have a bareboat agreement, it's a Demise agreement. Demise actually means, well, it means a couple of things, but Demise, let's just get it down, is a it means to divide, and it means a transfer of possession. Okay. Demise can also mean death, but Demise also means transfer of possession. So we're talking about a boat owner who owns an asset, the boat, and is transferring possession in the form of a lease to a renter. Okay. Then Demise, to divide, everything that happens after that transaction needs to be itemized. All right. So a bareboat charter is the rental of a vessel, the leasing of a vessel. So just like a boat rental, and boat rentals are even regulated the same way. And so what a bareboat charter allows you to do is allows you to it's not a loophole. It's just a different type of charter. There's no gray area. Forget that term. No gray areas, folks. Any of you who are like, well, there's a lot of gray area. There's not. It's black and white. It either is or it isn't. There is a little bit of gray area when it's the law enforcement officer making a determination, and it actually goes over that in here, and we'll talk about that. So a bareboat charter is the leasing of a vessel, and then separately hiring of a captain, crew. The customer has to pay all of the fuel. They have to be able to secure insurance on the boat themselves. They have to pay for all food and provisions and stores, port fees, everything. So we're going to talk a little bit about how those should look under some of these. But if, you know, first thing to me when I see this is when somebody's like, $1,800 includes captain, crew, and fuel, is the first thing I know that that person has no clue what they're doing. The website is setting the captain, the boat owner, and the renter up for failure. So anything that lumps all of these together is not a bareboat charter. Those websites were meant for boat rental, or they're just some person who started a business and didn't really do the research and is just trying to sell other people's stuff, which is what we do, but we build technology for those people. So we'll talk about that later. Well, see here on chart A, the area we are most focused on chart A, which is page 11 of the 38-page document, okay, chartered with no crew provided not more than 12 passengers. Okay. It is considered a recreational vessel under the old law, and under the new law, the Passenger Vessel Safety Act of 1993. Under the new law, it is a recreational vessel. So these aren't UPVs. They're not regulated as such. They are recreational. Okay. Also under no passengers for hire. So when somebody says my license allows me to carry 12 passengers, that's wrong. Okay. That does not mean anything. My license doesn't mean anything. It's actually the passengers for hire. And what is a passenger for hire versus just a passenger? Okay. All right. So let's just not get too deep into the weeds, but we're going to go chartered with no, that's the line you're looking for. That's the important one. Whenever somebody says, oh, you can't carry 12 passengers on board, you have to have a COI, a certificate of inspection. They're wrong. If the contract and the leasing of the vessel and all of the payments and the setup and everything is done by the book here, you see, they can carry 12 passengers. So just get over it. It's the truth. It's the way the laws have been worked for decades now, and it's not changing anytime soon that we can see. And if it does, we'll put out new education about this. Okay. So no crew provided. What a weird word. Well, you're putting captains on there, aren't you? Yeah. Well, we're going to go down and find out the 7 elements of a bareboat charter actually allow a boat owner to provide a list of qualified operators, not a licensed captain necessarily, but qualified operators. So think about a boat rental. I can let you take it out, the renter. If I rent you a boat, I can let you take it out, and I can say, in my words, you are qualified to take this boat out. Or I can say, now you're not qualified. Here's a list of qualified operators that I'd like you to pick from. Okay. In this rule, you are allowed to have 12 passengers plus the charterer, the renter, plus captain and crew. We have a little rhyme here. It's called 12 plus you plus captain and crew. Okay. Now, one last little thing we need to think of, because I know a lot of you are running bareboat charters on pontoon boats, hurricane deck boats, things like that. Center consoles, it's totally okay. But the passenger capacity of the vessel can never be exceeded. You can never exceed the capacity of the vessel itself. So if a pontoon boat, let's just say a pontoon boat, only allows 10 passengers on board, then your maximum amount of souls on the boat is 10. So it's really 9 passengers plus, well, it'd be 8 passengers plus the renter plus the captain. Okay, so 10 total. So always remember that rule. If I have a vessel with a capacity that is less than, let's just call it 12 plus 1 is 13 plus the captain is 14, your passenger capacity is not going to be 12. Because you need you want an operator on there. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Maybe you're renting your boat out on Boat Setter or something like that, and you're cool with it. So never exceed the number of souls on board that is posted on the placard. But Anchor does a service mostly for boats 40 foot to 100 foot. We go 30 to 120. I mean, we have vessels over 100 gross tons. We have some 20-foot boats on there as well, but never exceed the passenger capacity of the vessel. But let's just pretend you're a yacht certified, you got the Coast Guard's placard, you can have as many passengers on there as you possibly want. Well, if you're chartering the boat and there's an exchange of funds and you're renting your boat out, you're stuck at 12 plus the charterer plus the captain and crew. There is another flyer that the Coast Guard released. Let me see if I can find it really quick. It's the U.S. Coast Guard flyer, and it's master bareboat. I'm just going to type in some keywords, see if I can find this PDF. And did I nail it? Very close. No, this is not it. But this is actually a pretty good little placard. So I think this might be it. Yes. Okay. So luxyachts.com/resources/USCG-charter-brochure.pdf. This is an interesting link but it says in here very clearly that the owner or an individual representative of the owner, or in the case of the vessel on a charter, individual charter, the master, okay, except, so, okay, top right-hand corner, passenger. What is a passenger? It says, means an individual carried on a vessel, except, with the exception of the owner or an individual representative of the owner, or in the case of a vessel under charter, because the owner can't be on board their own charter. Okay, we'll talk about that in the owner section. Or an individual representative. So individual representatives of the owner can't be on board either. You have to pass full possession. Anything that says you haven't passed full possession, meaning the owner's on board or the owner's representative is on board, can't be. The master, but the master is the renter, okay, or a member of the crew engaged in the business of the vessel. So if the crew doesn't count as passenger, the master doesn't count as passenger. So it's 12 plus master, which we also call the charterer, because they're the new owner for the day. So you have 12 plus charter plus captain and crew. This is confirmed in the Coast Guard document. You can contact any of your local Coast Guard. Usually the chief of investigations is a good person to reach out to. You guys know how to get a hold of your local U.S. Coast Guard. I'm not going to send their phone numbers out and have a bunch of people calling them. However, it's confirmed here. It is in writing. So let's flip back to our NAVIC 7-94. We're focused primarily on this section, which applies to most of our boats, the chartered with no crew, not more than 12 passengers, not including that. And then we're going to scroll down to the page 16 of 38. On the screen, you'll notice 1 through 7. These are the 7 elements of a bareboat charter, but there's a little bit more than that. All right, so I'm going to read this out loud, and I'm going to kind of interpret along the way. Okay, so I'm just going to start here in the second paragraph. Although vessels that are bareboat chartered are now subject to inspection for certification if carrying more than 12 passengers, which we're not, so you need a COI if you're going to carry more than 12, such vessels may still be considered pleasure yachts or recreational vessels for other purposes, i.e. International Convention for the Safety at Live. These mean nothing to me. Vessel documentation and admeasurement. Okay. A valid bareboat charter is one where the incidents of ownership have been transferred to the charterer. It's the most important line in this whole thing. A valid bareboat charter is one where the incidents of ownership have been transferred to the charterer. The boat is theirs for the day. They are the employer. They employ the captain. They tell the captain what to do, except they can't tell him what to do in the eyes of safety, right? So if they're saying, ram that ship, you don't have to do it. If they're saying, go run aground, you don't have to do it. I want to go over there. Well, it's too shallow. I can't do it. Nothing that puts the passengers at risk for safety or anything like that. So the captain still has a lot of control, but you are employed by the charter of the day. So if the charter of the day says, I want to go here, here, and here, they got to be able to do that. Boat owners can't say you can't go over there. They can't say you can't go to this place or that place. They have no legal right to say that. So anytime a boat owner tries to get involved and say, I don't want my boat going to this thing, shouldn't be a charter then. If you don't want your boat going to a certain place on a certain day for a certain event, most likely, like let's say Casparilla, which is 2 days from now, black out your calendar, don't do a charter. You have no right to say yes or no. You can ask for a premium for that additional risk, but you can't, so. When necessary to determine if a bareboat charter exists, the OCMI, this is really the officer in charge here, should discuss the vessel's operation with the vessel owner and make a determination if the vessel's charter is a valid bareboat charter. So when the Coast Guard boards you, they're going to start asking questions. Is this a bareboat charter? How do I determine if it's a bareboat charter? And that's what this video and podcast is all about. How are they determining it? How do you not get yourself into a position where they're already boarded you? Because you're shit out of luck at that point. They're already on board. And like I said, you're fucked. If it's not a valid bareboat charter, you're getting terminated. Your license is at risk if you're a captain. The boat can be confiscated, fined multiple, it's like up to $90,000. It's insane. And $1,000 a day in holding. So The elements listed below are indicative, but not conclusive of. I'm continuing on with my reading. The elements listed below are indicative of, but not conclusive of. Gotta love that. Of a valid bareboat charter arrangement. So they're saying this is the guidelines, but if we decide otherwise, like one of these elements is missing, it could still be a bareboat, or all of these elements are met. It may not be a bareboat. So they're going to go on and investigate. You all have been through this procedure. Most of you have. Most boat owners haven't because they don't know what, they're not on board, hopefully. But they're asking questions like, hey, did you have a selection of captain? Hey, do you have a charter agreement on board? Where's the captain services agreement? You got to have that. So captains, if you have just a charter agreement, not a captain services agreement, you're a passenger. So you have too many passengers on board. Where is the contract that says I hired this person? And then did I get to hire this person from a list is what they're really trying to figure out. And the Coast Guard's going deeper this year. They're going into the financials. Is all this lumped together in one big bundle? Like, is there just a sticker price at the bottom that says $1,800 for a charter captain and all this? Or is it line itemed out? If you're running anchor charters, and you probably are if you're listening to this, you notice our invoices are line by line by line by line, itemized receipts. All right. So even because all of these things are met, not necessarily. So let's go on. So they're indicative of, but not conclusive of a valid bareboat charter agreement. Conversely, a bareboat charter may exist where one or more of the listed elements is not met. So it's still, even if you missed one of these, it's okay. It's still a bareboat charter. We get it. In any particular case, each arrangement must be evaluated on its own merit. That is legal 101. If you ask me situations about insurance and claims, I'll probably say something very similar. That each claim will be evaluated on its own merit. Okay. That's a very legal way of answering a question because I'm not going to go through the billion, trillion different combinations of, well, what if this? Okay, well, I have to ask you 10 questions, like, well, were you under the influence of alcohol? Did the charter punch you in the face and cause you to veer right? So all these little situational claim questions cannot be answered. That's why you do claims investigation. All right. Number one, very important. The charter must have the option of selecting the crew. No other website that I know of is doing this properly. We'll talk about it later and I'm going to go to it, but let me just tell you, if a purchase is made and then on the charter agreement, so usually you make a purchase, then you sign an agreement. If by time you're signing the agreement, that's when you get the selection of captain. Nope. Sorry. I see owners putting their list of captains on their agreements and they think that that's going to fly. It's not. They're saying, yes, I agree that they check a box. Like, yes, I agree that I had a selection of captain. Well, did you? Did you really? If you put it on the contract and the person swiped their credit card before they got the contract, you didn't. Okay. It has to happen in advance. Anchor is the only website, and I designed it this way, that actually does that. So when we're doing these orientations, we're actually building rosters for the boat and presenting that to the client before they book. Okay. So be careful if an owner calls you up, hey, can you do this charter? Well, how do they have a selection of captain? Okay. We allow the charter to say, I don't care, select any of the approved. And there are loopholes around that. There are ways around that. But I'm telling you, if you don't have a very robust application, it's probably not doing this correctly. And you have no proof that it did this correctly. So can you fight it if the Coast Guard disagrees? So protect yourself. So anyway, charter must have option of selecting the crew. Although a master or crew may be furnished by the owner. Okay. Full possession and control must be vested in the charterer. This does not preclude the charterer from taking advice from the master and crew regarding hazardous conditions such as inclement weather, navigational obstructions, etc. Interpreted a different way, the owner can set minimum levels of proficiency. The owner can say, here's my roster of captains, and then they are hired by the charterer. So anytime you all captains, I've heard people complaining about checking in and checking out of a vessel. That's what the charterers that come to our website want. So they're your employer. They want that to pay you your money. They're your employer, not Anchor, not the boat owner, the charterer. Okay. The master and crew are paid by the charter. Boom. This is the biggest. This is one of the easiest mistakes made. A lot of websites out there lump all the money together, pay the owner, then the owner pays the captain. Wrong, X, big violation. Nope. Owner paying the captain any amount of money, even if it's a pass through like that, is still considered the owner is hiring the captain, the captain is under the owner's employ and therefore a representative and on board the boat. Invalid bareboat charter, it is now a UPV and you're in violation. So captains, as a rule, we'll get into this, we'll go over these bullets, but stop taking money from owners. If an owner wants to pay you for an actual charter from a guest, not their private shit, you can drive owners privately. I'm talking that. So I'm talking charters from booty shaking guests. Jokingly, some are great guests, actually. Not everybody does booty shaking, but a lot of them do. So that money has to come from them somehow. Can it come through a payments processing system? Yes. Can it come through Venmo, Cash App? Yes. PayPal? Yes. There has to be proof of a flow of money directly to, and not from the owner. Okay. So that's where we got into the real tidbit. So Anchor built this product. You all saw a 2.5% processing fee, and a very small percentage of people didn't like it. But you have to understand that the payments technology to adhere to these laws is very advanced. It's not basic stuff. So we had to take money into a specific escrow account for each individual line item and then pay it out. So there's fees on the incoming, fees on the outcoming. And that is why that 2.5% fee is there. It's to protect your license. Somebody dies and they do a financial investigation on your charter, you're safe. Okay. Well, you should be safe in that facet. Again, not legal advice, but you should be safe. And we've had injuries and even death, and nobody has gone to jail. Nobody's ever been terminated on an anchor charter, with the exception of one where the owner lied and said he wasn't the owner of the boat, said he was the captain. False information to us. And that did get terminated. 1 out of 10,000. Pretty good success rate and tons of boardings. Okay. So anyway, let's move on. All food, fuel, and stores are provided by the charter. Fuel included in the boat rental price? No, can't do that. Prepaid fuel, a line item fee, you can do it. So if you look at Anchor's platform, we never say fuel included. We used to. Coast Guard didn't like it. Even though we put it as a line item, they said change that to prepaid fuel and you're okay. So even the fuel is a big part. If they say, hey, includes boat, captain, $1,800, includes boat, captain, crew, and fuel, illegal. Simple. It's that simple. Go to the listing. Go check it out yourself. If you're a captain, you're now educated. You listen to that last part, you're educated. If you see it listed that way and you don't see an itemized receipt and it's more than 6 passengers, steer clear. So fuel, food, provisions. I can't say, hey, I include a charcuterie board on here. You can get away with that. But here's another thing I want to say. So a lot of people have this argument, and it is the silliest argument. How many of you have heard this argument on Facebook or anywhere else, but mostly Facebook? Well, if I'm going out fishing with my buddy, I can't give him a sandwich or gas money. Bullshit. Yes, you can. It's not a charter. Okay. Just because you voluntarily give somebody a sandwich or gas money doesn't mean it was contingent for carriage on the vessel. So would your buddy have let you go out with him if you didn't have gas money that day? Probably. Okay. Hey man, I'm a little short today. Can I still go fishing with you? Yeah, no problem. Come on out. You're my buddy. You're my friend. Okay. It's only when money is a contingency for carriage does it become a paying passenger, right? All right, moving on. So let's end that argument once and for all. If you hear that, just laugh, honestly, because that's the silliest argument I've ever heard. Oh, I can't even pay my buddy gas money because now it's a charter. No, it's only when it was contingent for carriage. If you're saying, hey, 4 good looking girls on the dock, you want to go out with me, pay me $200 and I'll take you out. And they're like, well, can we go out for free? No. Okay, that $200 is now a charter. But if you're like, come on out, and they voluntarily give you $200, that's cool. Also, don't try to loophole that, because those girls that you just picked up will rat you out in a second. No, I paid them. I'm not in trouble for this shit. If they get bored, they're like, I'm not in trouble for this shit. It's that dude. He made us pay $200 to come on here. Okay, they will throw you under the bus. Don't wait till after your charter to collect money. That too, they'll be like, yeah, I'm about to pay him. They're going to divide and conquer when they get on that boat. They're going to ask the guest something and the captain something. They're going to ask the same questions. And if they get two different answers, you're out, terminated. See ya. All port charges and pilotage fees are paid for by the charter. Everything needs to be paid for by the charter. So docking fees is, if they want to go transient dock at, who cares? Miami Beach Marina. They want to transient dock at somewhere in the Keys. Charter has to pay for that. Can't be included in the price. Insurance is obtained by the charter. Okay. At least to the extent of covering, number 5 here, at least to the extent of covering liability not included in the owner's insurance. Okay. Insurance is obtained by the charter. So whenever you book on Anchor, and there are some other platforms that do this quite well, as I think, I know that Boat Setter does this. They check at least this box, but Anchor does too. And I think Get My Boat might, but don't quote me on that. Either way, the 10% booking fee that the client pays, that's going to insurance. So there's a general liability policy on every charter that we book. And that's what that booking fee goes to. Same with Airbnb. If you're Airbnb in your place, you're getting an insurance policy with it. And so owners think that they're losing. They're like, oh, Anchor takes a cut and I make a little bit less money. But yeah, but we're adding on layers of protection for you, charter agreements, signed agreements, everything's on the up and up and streamlining your business for you. So to do things illegal and save $200 is just preposterous, but whatever. People do it and they're going to continue to get busted. All right. Just captains got to learn to say no. Captains, you're the front line on this fight to saying no to people who are doing shit illegal. So the more educated you are, the more you are willing to say no to a payday, the quicker and faster and super, it's going to be expedited to fix and clean up the mess that is out there right now. Okay. All right. The charter may discharge for cause the master and or any crew member without referral to the owner. So if you're not doing well, they can terminate you. Okay. If you're rude, if you're unhappy, you're not providing the guests with a good experience, you're telling them they can't go places just because you don't want to go, they can fire you and you are not paid. So if the charter says, I'm terminating this guy because, or gal, because he or she was rude the entire time, we got 2 hours into our charter and I was very unhappy, we will allow that charter. Yes, I will, if they're right. Now, if something goes wrong, you're a little flustered for a couple minutes, no big deal, but you are a host. So think of yourself as a host. So they can terminate you legally. All right. And, here's one that I love. We recently checked this box. So the vessel is to be surveyed upon its delivery and return. Survey. Well, that's a common term that we all think like pulling the boat out of the water and doing this. No. You got to have a check-in and check-out version to make sure the boat's coming back the way it was given. Is it delivered at seaworthy and is it coming back seaworthy? So Anchor just released the Anchor Captains app on iOS and Android. You can download it. If you want to sign up as a captain, you can download it and create a profile. We'll get you all set up, check your license and and verify it. And then you can start getting oriented on boats and getting on rosters. When you do get a charter, it's pushed to your captain's app and you can begin the charter with a check-in process. That is the survey. So the charterer has come to Anchor, booked this charter and hired you under the agreement that you're going to provide this service to them. It's part of your gig pay. It's part of gratuity. So anyone who's like, I don't want to do that, well, you're not fulfilling your duties to your employer. Okay. So it has to be surveyed upon its delivery and return. So that means we take photographs of the exterior, take photographs of the interior. We check fuel and systems. Any damage, we report it prior to and post charter. Okay. So that pre-charter and post-charter survey is built into the app. Use your app. If you do not, for us anyway, we don't release funds because the charter could call us up and say, hey, they didn't do their job. I want to terminate them. I don't want to pay the gratuity. I didn't like their service. They didn't do what they were supposed to do. And now I'm getting charged for damage that they didn't document. No documentation of damage, nothing. So survey the vessel upon delivery and return. How many owner booked charters? How many owners do you know that are doing this on the side themselves are actually doing that? There's some, there's not a lot. So if they're not you know it's an illegal charter as well. So we've gone over these elements. Now, here's something very important. Any provision, any provision that tends to show retention of possession or control of the vessel, such as the owner of the vessel being aboard during the charter of the vessel, contradicts the claim that a bareboat charter exists. So anything that shows possession hasn't been passed to the charter, like they're not in control, means it's not a bareboat charter. So all of those things I mentioned before, they're not for me, they're for you. If the captain's being rude and says, no, you can't go over there because the owner doesn't want the boat to go there. If the captain isn't doing the check-in and check-out and saying, no, I'm not going to do that, the owner doesn't require me to do that, it's not a bareboat charter. You're doing it. You have to do it the way that it's supposed to be done. And if the owner's on board, that's a big no-no. But if you are considered the owner's representative or employee because the owner's paying you and you're on board, no longer a bareboat charter. All right. So main things here, we got to have an itemized receipt. In my opinion, massive important thing. The charter has to be able to choose you, the captain, from a list, or choose the captain from a list. And all of those payments have to go out individually, not a lump sum. These are not Happy Meals. All right. You can't just say, oh, I want a number 6. Can't sell it that way. Sorry, it's federally regulated. Don't like it. Talk to the government. They control it, not me. They don't want Happy Meals being sold. They want a burger, fries, soft drink, and some nuggets. And I got to see each one of those. And even when you do buy a Happy Meal, by the way, you see all of those on your itemized receipt. Okay, so let's move on. Enough talk about Happy Meals. So great resource here. You really only need a couple of pages for the basics. You can read this document thoroughly. There's more information in here, but for the most part, those are the two main points, page 16 and what did I say? Page 11. Page 11, page 16. So go to that. That's your thing. So I'm going to pull off of this. Get back to the presentation. Okay. So we've talked about what is a bareboat charter. It's transfer of possession. It's a boat rental. That's all it is. It's a fucking boat rental that you later then hire a captain from a list, the way we do it, or you drive it yourself. So a lot of people are like, oh, you can't hire a captain on a bareboat charter. Bullshit. Go look at Marine Max. Go look at vacations. Go look at the moorings. Go look at all these other bareboat charter programs. You have the option to hire a skipper, or you can be the skipper. At Anchor, we just thought that's unsafe on these vessels. We don't have a training program. There's no way that we should be hiring unlicensed mariners. So minimum level of proficiency is a U.S. Coast Guard captain's license and an orientation on the vessel. Seems fair and seems legitimate. And the Coast Guard seems to think so too, as we haven't been violated for doing it this way. And we have letters of compliance from the Coast Guard. So these are best practices. We talked a little bit about how Anchor covers all 7 of those and more. So I wanted to get into, let's see what else we got. Some of the other things. Crossing the red line we talked about. Let's pull up. I'll go back into a share really quick. And I'm going to go scan Facebook. And I apologize. You can probably see some of my personal friend stuff. Let me see if I can get logged in from here. I think it's incognito window, so it won't allow me to. But we'll go find the, yeah, I ain't gonna like it. Okay, I'm gonna go back over to a new window. It memorizes. I'll get logged in. Yeah, and by the way, my friends list is pretty full. I save it for most brokers. That's another group that we talk to a lot on these podcasts, brokers. So, okay, let's go to the let's just type in USCG and find groups, find the right groups. Okay, so Sector Miami does this a lot. Let's see if we can find it in here. Perfect. Okay, so first thing we see. Now, this is embarrassing for anybody. And actually, I know this boat, and I actually know what happened. And it was just a paperwork flub, honestly. The brokerage the charter broker that booked this charter is actually decent brokerage, nothing wrong with them, but they can't handle quick fire paperwork like we can. So the wrong agreement was on board that didn't match the captain's name. So I like this person. The owner of this boat's actually a super good dude. Had a good conversation with him personally to figure out what happened. but I'm going to use it as an example. So no offense if the owner sees this, sorry, but Tomahawk got busted for an illegal charter. The boat is listed on the Anchor website. Okay. This wasn't an Anchor charter. This was the owner booked through a different brokerage. That's fine. We're not upset about that. But look down here in the corner, 46 CFR 67.7, failure to have a valid certificate of documentation endorsed for coastwise trade. Failure to have a valid, another violation, valid certificate of inspection because they had crossed the red line. Now having 12 on board or 10 or whatever they had more than 6, they have too many on board. So they needed a COI. They're not a bareboat. Failure to have type 1 personal flotation devices. That's only required on a UPV, not required on a bareboat charter. So that was another violation because they crossed the red line. And then failure to have a drug and alcohol program. So this is an interesting one. I'm not sure if it belongs to the boat or the captain. I'm pretty sure it's the captain who's supposed to be in a drug consortium and is able to prove that. So captains, make sure you're in a drug consortium. They randomly drug test you for, drugs, marijuana mostly, I think, cocaine, things like that. But I'm pretty sure that maybe the UPV require, because I don't know much about UPV law. I know everything about bareboat. Well, not everything, but a lot. And I think it's maybe because they were employed. In this case, the captain is then an employee of the boat owner, and the boat owner / company that owns that is supposed to have its own program. Again, I'm not always going to be 100% right on this stuff, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. So look, $60K, $103,000 are the potential violations. Oh my God, is it worth the extra $150 that we would have been deducted running it through Anchor, running it through a certified program that knows what the hell they're doing and has the technology to do this? We're not going to stop this altogether, but as captains, that captain knew my agreement, should have had it in hand, or if they didn't have it in hand, should have said, that ain't my name on that agreement. I'm not signing this. I can't take this charter out until I have the right agreement. That would have been the right thing to do. Sucks because the charter would have been backed up, slowed down. Customers wouldn't have been happy, but it's the legal thing to do. So I know how they determined the charter agreement wasn't invalid because it didn't match. So anyway, didn't match the name of the operator on board. Small problem. Who cares? Stop all these charters and just pay a real charter boat to take you out. Well, there's no market for 6 passengers on an 80-foot boat that's less than 100 gross tons. So Mark, sorry, you're wrong. There's no market for it. So you would destroy the industry and destroy commerce for captains. So all those paying gigs that are out there, there is no market for a 60-foot, 50-foot, whatever, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 charter. This one's probably closer to $2,500, $3,000 for a half day for just 6 passengers or less. It just doesn't exist. They'll take a pontoon boat out. They'll go do Freedom freaking Boat Club if they want to do that. So this is a wrong comment. Fix the problem. Not, fix the problem. Don't destroy the source of income and economy around it. No, because these can actually be done right and safe. So sorry, Mark, don't agree with you. And I kind of gave you an answer on what the hell happened here. So I guess if there was more than 6 passengers on board, since there was no COI for the vessel, again, wrong. So it's not it. Could be just because there's more than 6 doesn't mean it's invalid. So I got a new argument the other day with another boat. You'll see me go off on people and then I just give up because it's very hard. So what I'm telling you here is hopefully helpful. Let's see this one. Who we got here? Why not? Again, it's going to be the same, exact same 4 violations. Why not? I'm looking at an illegal charter busted. Why not? Looks like a large, what is that? A Princess Viking, maybe? Fly bridge. I'm guessing about 65 feet, 70 maybe. And the Coast Guard takes a picture of it, puts the name on the thing. And again, $60,000 fine plus a $103,000 fine. And then what is a bareboat charter agreement? Well, a bareboat charter agreement is the leasing of the vessel, but you need a second agreement on there that hires the captain and crew if somebody else is driving it, or else they're considered passengers. So when you're getting these agreements from people, hey, I see my Demise agreement. I see my charter agreement. Where's my captain services agreement? Where is my name printed that this person hired me? Because if not, I'm a passenger. Okay. So arm yourselves. So this is what I see all the time. I could go to Instagram, man. Oh my God. Let's see. Let's see if I'm logged in here. Hopefully I am. I'll be logged in as anchor. But let's pull this up and I'm going to show you really quick. Like, I'll just go through. Sorry, you're probably going to see some good looking girls in the early stages of anchor. We just went and followed a bunch of influencers. So if you see some booty shaking and stuff like that, I apologize. Again, this is my personal podcast, not my business podcast. And it's taken forever to load, of course, because we're screen sharing and doing all kinds of stuff on here. But let's go. Okay. So I'm going to scroll through and just find, you'll see some rugby. I'm a rugby player. Love it. This guy's awesome. The Liver King. If you haven't watched the Liver King, go check him out. Liver King, LIVERKING. Freaking awesome channel. Uh-oh. What happened here? Oh, safety yachts. And there's a boat on the side. They do this stuff, but they're overseas. So come on. Where's my advertisements? We're going to get them. Here we go. Safety yachts again. Super safe. They never post anything safe, which is funny. Okay. This is like in a foreign country, so I'm not even going to mess with it. I'm scrolling through Instagram right now. So I'm trying to find some of these new advertisements that I've been seeing everywhere. And if you go through like stories, especially, you see so many sponsored new charter brokers that are starting their site and they're like, oh, take me to WhatsApp, like go to WhatsApp and chat with me there. Go to my website and book this for $2,000. And their prices seem cheaper. You show up, there's no gratuity included. It's all just, man, this is a terrible example. I swear I get these every time, but I'm on desktop and most people don't advertise on desktop. So maybe that's it. Let's see if I can go to stories up here. Go scroll to the top. And maybe find it in stories. All right, let's go. Bam. I'm gonna find some advertisements in between. This is Anna. She works with us. Come on now. Don't care. Where's the ads? I guess you don't get as many ads on desktop. People are just publishing mobile only. All right, so we'll avoid Instagram. I'll pop on the phone sometime. We'll avoid Instagram in the future on desktop. So I'm on my laptop right now. It ain't helping. But let's get out of here and let's talk a little bit about the captain's side. Who the hell knows how long I've been going so far, but let's stay engaged. So I'm going to start with captains. Captain's number one. We're going to talk about some of the things that you can ask right off the bat that are going to keep you protected. So this is really the value. We've talked about a lot of them. We're going to review some of them, but let's talk about that stuff. So first question. Okay. If I get a call from, let's say, a boat owner and says, hey, I got a charter tomorrow. Can you do it? Well, we all want to go, how much does it pay? It's the first question I would ask. How much does it pay? I'm running a 50-foot boat. I want to make at least $50 an hour, whatever it is. I'm going to ask about the pay. But that's not the most important question. I'm sure there's a pay rate, and it's probably most likely in line with market today, or it's not. So you can ask that later. First question, who's paying me? Well, how am I getting the money? How am I getting paid? Is the charter paying me directly, or are you paying me? The owner's like, no, they already paid me. I'm going to pay you. Has the charter already paid? Yeah. Okay. So if it's the boat owner who's paying you or the broker who's paying you, it's not a bareboat. And if you're at more than 6 passengers, stop. That's your stop right there. Sorry. If you want to route this charter through an accredited platform that does bareboat charters right, so that I get paid directly, I'm happy to take it. But unfortunately, you're paying directly and you're just trying to do this on your own on the side hustle. And my license isn't worth your side hustle. Like, stand up for yourself. This is your license. You are licensed mariners. That boat owner can go sell that boat, probably at a profit right now, if he gets in trouble and decides, oh, I'm going to fold this charter business. This is your career. You lose that license, no more deliveries, no more orientation, no more surveys, no more any of that crap, no more charters. You're done. Your license is gone. You are fucked. Okay. So stop taking pay from owners if it's a bareboat charter. If it's a term charter, bigger stuff, that's cool. It has to go through the right payment processing. Okay. And that's why we hold it in escrow and send it out the way we do. So if it's the owner or if it's the broker, it's not a bareboat. Okay. we had to build this super robust, difficult, and patent pending now payments processing program to achieve this goal. It costs us a lot of money and is not easy to build. So tell owners, hey, you want to go invest another $500,000 in your payments processing and become, do this thing that Anchor did and probably will have a patent on very soon. You're more than welcome to. But unfortunately, my license is worth more than $200 today. Okay. Find their link. Let me see the listing. Okay. This is the second thing. So if the owner says, no, the charter is going to show up with $500 cash. Cool. All right. That's fine. Charter's going to show up with $500 cash. Now that's a weird situation, and make sure you get your money up front. I would never imagine listing something on a website and then the charter has to show up and pay an extra $500 to the fucking captain. Are you kidding me? What a terrible experience right off the jump. It's not luxury. That's not nice. That's just like shoveling shit. Okay. I'm sorry. That's just bad experience, bad user experience. I love the user experience of Anchor, book. Everything's done. I don't have to do anything except for maybe pay a little bit of extra gratuity. It's all done for me. Click, done. Okay. And we talk to people and we tell them all these rules. We're actually on the phone with them telling this stuff. Okay. Second, read the listing. All right. Let's go find a listing. I'm going to share again. Let's go get online. This is what a customer journey is going to look like. We're going to go Yacht Charter Miami. Let's use Miami as an example. All right. So I'm just going to go pick somebody random, not Salo. Yeah. Yacht Charters in Miami. Let's see if this one is. I think YCM is somebody I actually know and like, so I don't want to use them as an example. Yeah, this is them. So I'm not going to use them as an example. That's not very fair, even though. All right, let's go to Prime Luxury Experiences. These guys have a nice website, by the way. I'll give them a compliment. But, okay, let's go find a yacht. Our yacht fleet. Okay, let's find any of these. We know all these boats right now are 51 gallon fly. We know that that's under 100 gross tons. We know that they're going to want to. Okay. First red flag of the day. 2997-5450. Nothing wrong right up front. This is my first yellow flag. Actually, I'm not red flagging this. I'm yellow flagging it. I'm going to go look here. 12 cruising. Okay. They said passengers. Submit your booking form with a deposit starting from 300 to 1,000. E-sign your reservation with your phone in minutes. Email confirmation. Okay. What's included? Here it is. Red. Yellow just turned to red. What's included? Certified captain. What does that mean? Certified. Great. Certified for what? Okay. Fuel's included. Water toys are included. VIP host and crew. So a representative of the broker. The broker's going to be on board? No. Water, sodas, and ice. Okay. This one I'll let slide. Water, sodas, and ice is water's okay, because if a bum was walking by on the sideline and on the sideline, sorry, my rugby shit. If a bum was walking by on the road and said, hey man, can I get a water? You'd probably out of the kindness of your heart would toss them one or a soda or something, because it's like a necessity of life. So it's not contingency of carriage. Right. So it's not like you're giving them, if they said alcohol included, that's a big red flag for me. But if they say water, sodas, and ice, I'm okay with that. They are necessities of life. You would give it to your friend. You would give it to somebody who's not paying for a charter. I would hand a 25-cent soda can to somebody on the street. So I'm okay with it. That's why I give it the pass. In my book, a Coast Guard can determine otherwise. But my book, I'm cool with water and ice. We require water and ice on every charter. It's just, what do we need in life? We need a food, water, shelter, and love, right? So it's okay to give this to people. Jet ski optional. You can't do it this way. Sorry, this is illegal. And I'm paying right up front and then signing my agreement later. So where's my selection of captain? Who's my captain? How am I going to get that? Okay. So this automatically, if I went to this listing, I would scroll that and I would have found out, no, I'm not doing this charter. This is illegal. Bareboat charter to me. Where's the line item receipt? I would look for that. But all of it says on the advertisement, because if somebody gets hurt, the charterer gets hurt, I break my leg, I get my leg chopped off, I die. My wife is going to go find this listing, find this company, and sue every single person in the line of fire. And we're going to win, because it's not a bareboat charter. They violated the law you'll lose your license, maybe go to jail. Owner of the boat will go to jail and have their boat confiscated. Could, not will, could, okay? And all these bad things will happen. So first thing I do, go check the listing. One of the first things, who's paying me? How am I getting my money? How much money am I getting? For what services? And then what does the listing look like? So that was another big one for me. What does the listing look like? All right, let me stop sharing again. Go over here. All right. So what does the listing look like? That was a prime example. Boom, prime example for prime luxury charters. Sorry, guys, you have a beautiful website, but that's not compliant. That is not cool. Putting people at risk, and not them. The broker almost never gets in trouble. Booking companies, booking.com does this shit. Airbnb does this shit now. Everyone wants to slang this stuff. Everyone's slanging yacht charters. Save yourself the fucking agony and pain of a lawsuit and a license loss and jail time, because it happens. It's real. Somebody gets hurt and dies every fucking weekend on the water. So stop it. Okay. Go look at the listing. And if you learn these things, what I taught you today, can't bundle these things. This isn't a legal bareboat charter. If something happens, goes wrong, it's my license, not yours. Okay. Yeah. Is the price bundled into one combo price? I said, these aren't Happy Meals. That's what my notes say here. I'm looking at notes off to the side because I can't remember all this shit on my own. You know, again, is the owner of the boat paying you? Then if those things are happening, full control of the vessel hasn't been passed. The renter hasn't had the option to select their crew, and or they are not paying the crew directly. So there's multiple violations here. And all it takes is one Coast Guard junior LE who's 23 years old, can barely grow a mustache like mine. And no offense, guys, because we love you. We love the Coast Guard. And say, hey, do you have a selection of captain? Did you get to pick this person out? Where'd you pick them from? Where's the list? On Anchor's website, you're all on a list. You're on a master list and you're on a vessel list. So you have two lists. So if something were to ever happen, I can back you up legally. Say, of course they're picked from a list. Here, you cannot book with Anchor without doing this. So that's why I'm so passionate about this. Like, we did it the hard way. You think it's harder to build an application that actually knows who the roster of the captain is, or just slap some shit up on a website that says captain included? Of course, it's easier to build the other website. Ours is way harder, way more expensive. That's why we don't have as many boats. That's why we have fewer bookings, because we have to put more money into product than we do into marketing right now. That's all changing because we're getting to where we need to be with the product. But to stop this and be informed, those are the biggest things I would ask the captain to do. Okay. Last thing is, make sure your charterer is on board. Okay. So the charterer's name is going to be listed on the charter agreement. Anchor has you check an ID for a reason. If the charter is not on board and you have 13, you're over capacity. Also, why would you not check the person's ID that gets on board? Have you not seen these videos of captains getting held at gunpoint, punched in the face, knocked out unconscious, boats stolen, knives to their gut? These things are real risks. They don't happen all the time. They're rare. It's not something I'm not trying to scare you about, but don't you want to know who the fuck that is? I do. Like, I want to know that John Smith or Johnny Appleseed pointed a gun at me and then ran off with my wallet. And so the first thing I do when somebody gets on the boat, hey, is look at my agreement. Hey, is Johnny Appleseed here? And Jenna Ginsburg nailed this. She fucking nailed this. So good job, Jenna. One of our captains, and she does a lot of charters out of Naples for us and some other areas too. She's spectacular. Goes up to the Northeast. Really great captain and quite knowledgeable when it comes to bareboat charter law. She says, I use my check-in process as the ability to convey or communicate to the charter that they did select me from a list. They did all these things. So hey, I got to match your face to your ID. Let's check it. Yep, that's the same face, and the name on the ID matches. So snap a picture of that in your mobile app. It uploads to the customer's profile, so we know who they are. We can also verify that they were on the boat, and if anything ever happens, we know who we have to go after, and we can prove that they were there. Otherwise, it's your word versus theirs. Let's say they get drunk and puke all over the boat, rip sheets, light a fire in the fucking bathroom or something. Who knows? These people are crazy sometimes. No offense, renters. It's fucking true. You got to be able to say, hey, I know who that person is. I'm going after them legally. And yeah, they were here. And yeah, they checked in, because here's the picture of it. And our app is actually pinging your exact location when we take that photo. That's why you can't pull it up from your library anymore. You have to take a live photo, because we're pinging the exact location where that was taken. We're matching that with also an IP address from where the charter agreement was signed. So we can really zero in on who this person is, where they are, a lot of different stuff. It's really neat. So it's technology protecting you. Don't skip that step. Even people who are doing 6-pack charters, check the ID, take a picture. Your phone takes the location now. So turn your location services on, take a picture of that person, and you can say, yeah, they were on my boat. Here's where I checked them in. And then they destroyed my boat, did this illegal thing, stole my money, did something negative. Just know who the hell's on the boat. So check in, first thing, big reason. And the name needs to match the charter agreement. So look at the charter agreement, look at the name on the license. If my name's Zach Hatchraff, which it is, but my legal name's Zachariah, that's okay. Okay. Zachariah Hatchraff, Zach Hatchraff, in the eyes of the law, it's all the same, doesn't matter. Just know that you have at least the right person. If it says Johnny Appleseed and Susie Hug and Kiss gets on board with her ID, you can't start the charter. You need that charter on board. Where's the charter at? I need their license. I need to upload it. Or use the alternative check-in method. Take Susie Q's ID. Our system will actually process and send that person a text and verify who they are. So we can do a verification and create an account for them right there. So if you don't get that charter on board, let's say their mom booked it for them and they're not there, they did it as a gift and we didn't catch it. Use the alternative check-in method and boom, there you go. Okay, so captains, what are we gonna do? We're gonna bullet point it really quick, right? Who's paying me? Make sure it's not the boat owner or the broker. The charter's got to pay you or through a certified payments processing program. Go to the listing of the boat, see how it was booked, or look at the itemized receipt also that's been given to you. Is everything bundled or is it itemized? It needs to be itemized on the website that it was booked from, and it needs to be itemized on the receipt that you have in your hand. The numbers may not match your pay rate or whatever because it's probably marked up and people are making money off this. And yes, people take fees, but you need an itemized receipt. Doesn't matter what the numbers say. The name on the agreement needs to match the charter's ID that you check. Check in the boat, check out the boat, keep yourself safe. So that's what captains can do. Stop getting paid by the owner. You're under their employ. Oh, a little trick too. Not an accountant, not a lawyer, but have your own. Let's say you're the manager of the yacht as well. So the owner does pay you for services. Well, maybe you're getting paid in a separate LLC for your captain services when on charter. So if you're a full-time captain, you're getting paid into your personal account, use your business to do charters with that. So separate them so that you can't show proof that, oh, well, I'm going to look at your financial background and history in this lawsuit because somebody died and the owner pays you every week. Well, yeah, I do other services for them, not charters. My charters are over here. It's all separated. Okay. I'm not a representative of, and you can make an argument there. Okay. So separate LLC, get paid in a separate one, have two, one for your yacht management, one for your captain services, something like that. It's a good way to set it up. Just a little bit more time and effort, but yeah, there you go. All right. Let's talk about the boat owners and what they can do. Shit. Well, we're going to switch gears here, and boat owners, you're not going to like to hear this. I'm sorry, but stop doing it on your own. It ain't worth the extra $100. It ain't extra worth the $200. It's not worth the headache. You're having to do all this work, hustle and bustle with the client, make sure funds are verified, make sure all these things are in place, and you're probably doing it wrong. You don't go and build your own Scottrade account or E-Trade or Coinbase because it's federally regulated stock trades. You're just not going to do that. So why are you trying to do this industry on your own? It's not viable. You're going to have to build an extreme amount of technology to do this right. It's going to cost you more money than it's worth. Maintain your boat and do all of these things and create yourself so much headache when Anchor just does a small markup and guarantees you funds if all of these processes are done, or other platforms. Let somebody else take the headache. Let somebody else generate the agreement that has the tech. What I hate, and one of the biggest things I hate is, and I'm going to pull up, let's go share again. I'm going to pull up that website we were just on. When the technology ends at this, so let's just, let's see where the technology ends. I want to go out. Let's pull up their calendar. So there's no availability here, really. They're just requesting a date. So I don't see any dates blacked out, but let's just say I want to go out Monday on 2/28. What's the occasion? No, it's my birthday. And I want to go out for a half day. Let's see. I want to start. Oh, good. 10 to 2, 3 to 7. That's pretty neat that they did that. Good. 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Interesting. Okay. And I can book now. Let's see where the tech ends. That's it. That's a big red flag. Oh, no, wait, hold on. It hasn't ended. Maybe it hasn't. No, I'm going to continue. So I'm on the screen. I'm just going to a form fill for anybody who's just listening. I hate when websites end at the form fill and just goes, because all that does is just send an email with like the client information, and then they have to pick up the phone and do this all manually. It's one sign that no technology is in place to do this right. So from a technology nerd perspective, because I am the yacht nerd, I know that nothing's happening, but this is actually not bad. Okay, so we've got some information here. Uh-oh. What's this, Alex? Professional. So they've already designated my captain for me. Big red flag. Who the hell is that? So yacht, here we go. Yacht, add-ons, gratuity. That's it. Boom. Exactly what I just said. This line item receipt. So now it pops up another screen. One, they've told me who my captain is. Two, they have told me how much the yacht is and nothing about the price of the captain, nothing. All payments can be canceled / refunded anytime prior to 14 days of departure. Please note that if hazardous weather conditions exist at the time, you'll be redirected to Stripe. Yacht availability and holiday is subject to change. So they have no availability on here. This isn't even accurate availability. So no real tech. Add-on packages don't include yacht. Right. So if they had some packages on the other screen that I could add, like champagne or whatever, which is good that they're charging me for that, not giving it to me, but it's not itemized. This is bad. Now let's go to complete deposit and see if it's there. It's going to take me to Stripe. I'm slow. Did I click it? Yeah, it did. I mean, slow is just relative. Instagram was slow a minute ago. All right, here we go. Oh, deposit. That's it. Nothing. Okay. Huge red flags. No offense, Prime. You got to either get better tech or you can actually license our software too, by the way. So if the owner ever sees this, watches this, doesn't like that I picked on them, well, one, I don't care because you're doing it wrong. Two, I have a plugin that you can use instead of using Stripe like this. I have a plugin you can use, and you can actually use our technology that'll give you all of this way better functionality and keep your boat owner safe. So done with this one. I can X out. I know that that's wrong. So that was a perfect example. So boat owners, stop doing it on your own. Two, do your homework. Who's doing it right? If they're handing you, if a brokerage is handing you, this is a big one. If a brokerage is handing you, if you're a boat owner and a broker's like, no, I'm just going to give you the full 2,000. I'll take my fee out. I take a 20% cut. So I'm taking $400. I'm going to hand you $1,600. You do the rest. Tell them to go fuck off. Okay. Or tell them to download. Well, it's not downloadable yet. So it will be soon. So later date, this will be able. Well, I'm not even going to say it. Leave it. I got something else for them later. We'll make an announcement when it's time. Learn about your brokers. Know the law. Know that you're not supposed to be doing this yourself. Know that you need a good broker that has technology behind it that's actually doing this right. Because you're not a boat rental company. You are, but you're trying to do this with captains and you want people driving your boat. You got to do this the right way. It's federally regulated. Quit trying to build your own shit that's not compliant, that's hack. Like if you're building a Wix website, it's not going to do this right. Period. If you're going to GoDaddy, building a website, ain't going to do this right. If you're building a little website like that, that website probably costs somewhere around $150,000. I'm at like 3 million. Okay. Boat setters probably put in way more than that. 6 million, say in technology. I'm just guessing. Get my boat more. Not even all of us are ready. None of us have reached, the terminal velocity of our capabilities yet, but we're way far advanced than Wix and GoDaddy sites. So if the lead generation form, if you just have a lead form and boom, I'm telling you right now, you're putting people at risk. Stop doing it. Use that book now button and go to your anchor listing. We don't advertise other books. So instead of book now and it pops up a lead form, go to book now and bring them to your anchor listing and do it right. Okay. We'll even send you referral fee for the lead, for the love of God. So we'll pay you an extra broker's fee of 15% if you do it that way. Okay. So you get a 15% of list price bonus if you generate the lead, not Google or Facebook or whatever. So owners, stop trying to do it yourself. Use your listings. It's funny that owners who have 15 short-term rental properties will use property management software, and they'll actually use it properly, and they'll share their listings on Airbnb and VRBO, but they won't share their anchor listing or boat setter listing or whatever they choose. Because I'm not saying you have to use anchor. I'm just saying it's the best for this type of charter. So make your own decisions. Stop trying to do it yourself. If the broker is paying you a lump sum, say no. You got to pay my captain. The renter has to pay my captain directly. That's the legal way to do it. The renter has to pay my captain directly, whether you have the software to do that or they have to bring $500 cash. I don't care. I'm not paying the captain because they're not my employee, and I'm not putting myself or my boat at risk. So stand up against this broker bullshit. Okay. No offense to charter brokers. We're gonna help you out too. There's a whole episode dedicated to that. So don't listen to this and think we hate brokers. Absolutely not. We love brokers. We want you to have the right tools. You just don't have the right tools yet. And that's part of technology companies where they come in and do this stuff. So, all right, we all good. So boat owners need to be educated too. Boat owners need to learn to say no. Stop looking to make that extra $200 or 20% or whatever it is, and use these platforms to the best of their ability that exist out there. I mean, we're about to release the most robust calendar system on the planet, bar none, zero. No one's going to beat it. Boat Setter, Get My Boat, Fair Harbor, Peak Pro. This is the best chart. This is the best calendar application that you can have on the market is coming up. So use it. Use the platform and don't have to worry about customer interaction and saying the wrong thing. Because if you're like, oh yeah, the captain's included, and you have that text chain, they can sue you later if they get hurt. Stop. Okay. So boat owners have to learn to say no. Boat owners have to stop doing it on their own and go through a central agent that's legit and let the central agent pay the broker fees, not you. So if you use us as your central agent, we will pay the broker fees, not you. You get the same amount. You don't pay anything for it. It's part of the service. Okay. That's it. All right. So boat owners, that's what you need to do. Now, renters, I don't even know if it's worth going over. I don't think many renters are going to listen to this podcast, but what a handful of my friends are going to listen to this shit and not make it this far. Probably they'll probably turn it off because I don't know, I have an annoying voice or something. They've all heard this shit a million times. So renters probably aren't going to hear this, but let me just tell you some things to be warned of. Those lump sum prices that look like Happy Meals, it's not good. Okay. And here's why. The biggest thing is whiff them. Like, what's in it for me? What's in it for them? You know, what's in it for the renter? Why do they give a shit? I don't care if the captain gets in trouble. I don't care if the boat owner gets in trouble. Well, your $4,000 charter is going to get terminated by the Coast Guard. That's it. 45 minutes in, you get no money back. Your money is gone. Okay. And most of these brokers take money via Venmo, PayPal, whatever, and they're gone. They've already deposited that shit in their account by the time you've gotten on board. Nobody's been paid out. You're going to file a complaint with them and they don't have a customer service department and you're fucked. So you're out your $4,000 charter. You got terminated. You're off. And that's what's happening. All those terminations you see, those are unhappy charter guests. Those are unhappy renters. Those are ruined birthdays, ruined anniversaries, ruined fucking graduations, all of those things. So stop doing it. And if you see somebody who's like, hey, message me on WhatsApp and get a charter. What? No, you would not, would you text message some stranger to go stay in an Airbnb? Would you text message some stranger to book a jet, to book a flight? No. Would you text message some stranger to trade stock for you? No. So stop text messaging and WhatsApp messaging and doing that. I don't send in lead forms to Scottrade or Coinbase or Robinhood, for the love of God. I certainly don't send in a lead form to Southwest Airlines or Wheels Up private jets or any of that. First of all, I don't fly on private jets yet. If I do this right, maybe in 5, 6, 10 years, I will, but nowhere fucking near it. Southwest, I don't just send in a lead form. So if you see those lead forms and it stops right there, red flag, red flag, red flag, stop it. Okay. Find a website that itemizes all of the receipts, that shows you all of the payments, where it's going, how it's going, that educates you, and has an application behind the website. Website versus application. Websites end at lead forms. It just sends an email. A person calls you and does an Excel spreadsheet and runs your credit card over the phone. Probably don't even have the legal right to do that with, what do they call that? PCI compliance. So they have to if you're taking credit cards over the phone, you have to have PCI compliance. They can charge it back. You'll lose your money. So like boat owners, another thing, like why are they doing this? They can get chargebacks and they're not even securing themselves. They don't prove that the person, it's just craziness out here. So I don't understand anybody who doesn't want to do this right. I don't get it. It's not worth the extra $100. It's not worth the extra $200. It's not worth the extra $400. It's not worth the extra $1,000 if you're a bigger boat. Do it right. Have your crew paid efficiently. Have your crew check in the boat, check out the boat properly, do a legal bareboat charter, and be protected, because bareboat charters put the liability on the renter. The renter is liable if you can prove it. If you can't prove it's a bareboat charter, you have no legal recourse. If they sink the boat, take a sledgehammer to the side of your boat and sink it, you can't protect yourself. So stop doing it. I don't get it. Renters, stop WhatsApp messaging. Stop trying to get the same person who gets you a couch, a table at a club to book your charter for you and says that you can show up with 15 people. Then you show up with 15 people and the captain says no. They're taking your money and running. They're trying to make, and I want them to make an earning. I want them to have this. So come call up. Hey, I got this boat. I got a client. Can I get my 15%? Yes, absolutely. So anyway, all right, we've gone over a lot. That's a long, I mean, I know I looked up, it's been almost an hour. This is an hour on bareboat charters. It's not enough. I've barely scratched the surface. So we know what a bareboat charter is now. We know that you can have 12 plus charterer plus captain and crew. So 13 guests on board plus crew. Crew's anybody working on the boat. Captain, mate, stew, bartender, masseuse, DJ. And a DJ isn't somebody who plugs in their iPod. Okay. So we know we have some leniency in this area, but it has to be done right. There's leniency on the passenger count, but there's no leniency when it comes to doing it right. So use applications to do it right and stop. You know, what do they say? Like feed, you know, don't feed the animals. Okay. If you're feeding the animals, captains, especially captains, you're feeding the animals. When you say yes to doing these things off platform, and take cash and do these crazy things, you are putting your license at risk. You're feeding the animals. You're training boat owners. You're training renters that this is okay. And you are hurting your industry. All right. Now, I want to thank anyone who listened to the whole fucking podcast. That's awesome. I can't believe you would stay on with me this long. And I'm going to do a lot more of these in a lot of different areas. We're going to talk about Section 179, writing off the full purchase price of your vessel in year one. We're going to have guest accountants on this podcast, guest brokers on this podcast. We're going to have great opportunities for boat owners, brokers, yacht brokers, yacht and ship brokers, yacht dealers. We don't sell boats. We need you to. We need you to send those boat owners to us so they do it right and not get in trouble. Earn money, but don't get in trouble. Get their tax write-offs, earn their income. So we're going to do this a lot. And I'm going to be blunt as a motherfucker. Straight up. Do not care if you don't like it. I don't want anybody who doesn't like this shit because I'm spitting the truth. I really am. I am biased towards Anchor. Yeah, because I created it, of course. Okay. But I'm not going to discredit other companies that are doing a good job and trying to get there. There are some other companies that are trying to get there. Okay. So do this right. Do this efficiently. Let us take the headache. Let us interact with the guests. Let us worry about the federal regulations. Stop trying to trade stocks on your own through a lead generation website. Use an application like you do and take your money seriously. Treat your boat seriously. Treat your captains with respect. Captains, treat yourself with respect. Stop feeding the animals. Okay. So that's it. When I post this, I'm sure there's going to be questions. I hope to post this to YouTube as well. So I will post this to YouTube. I want you to ask your questions in the comments section of YouTube. I'm not going to answer questions anywhere else. I don't have the time. I've taken an hour out of my day to do this uncut, raw, off the cuff, pretty much unscripted. And I'm going to continue to do that. I'm going to continue to provide as much information as I know about and learn from other people along the way. So we're going to have captains on. We're going to have brokers on, accountants, all kinds of people. Ask questions in the comments of YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you get posted. We're going to put this up on a couple of different venues. So audio only will have its own version. I think Spotify will probably be that. YouTube will definitely be the video channel for this for sure. And then go to our website and find us. Get active out there. Get signed up if you're a licensed captain or RYA certified, or your crew or a mate and you don't have your license yet. Download our captain's app. It's called Anchor Captain on iOS and Android. It's free. Sign up. Boat owners, you can go to our website, www.anchorrides.com. That's ANCHORRIDES.com, or just search Anchor Yacht Rentals and go to the List Your Boat button in the top right-hand corner in the menu. Find that and learn information and sign up your boat. Okay. So yeah, I'm trying to build supply for Anchor off this, but this is my views and my views only. Do it right. Thank you for your time today. And as always, have fun and be safe.